and today we have Ken Croken with us. Ken, you are running for District 97. Did I get that right?
You did.
Yay! Tell us about your district and what you want to do here.
I think it's one of the more geographic, condensed district. I represent Eastern and Central Davenport. Mine is the only district that's entirely within the city of Davenport. It runs from, well, depending on how well you know the geography here, it runs from the river north up to about 53rd Street, which is our big commercial district, and from the Bettendorf City line west to St. Ambrose University or thereabouts.
Okay, perfect. We don't know any of what that means, but the people that matter will know what that means.
Well, you need to take a field trip out, and I will give you a tour of the entire city, and you'll just love it. Bring
We would
lots of money. The chamber will appreciate that.
we would love that. That would be fun. We are everywhere all the time. We say that a lot. We like to go places and meet new people and meet people where they are. It's
Right.
fun. It's fun for us. I think we went to Davenport once. Layla, does that sound right?
Yes, we went to an extravaganza in Davenport with Indivisible.
I think
Okay.
so. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And oh, the group's name, the Resistors.
Right.
The Resistors. Yes. And they were lovely. That was a lot of fun. Okay. So you are already currently serving in the Iowa House.
Hmm. I'm
So
in the second year of my second term.
very good. What inspired you to run again?
Unfinished business. I have a number of issues that I've been working on even long before I was in the state legislature. Let's see, minimum wage, living here within spitting distance of Illinois. I am deeply concerned for our Iowa minimum wage workers who make less than half than the Illinois workers across the river. You've probably heard this before, but for the past 2 years, well, now 3 years, I have led the Democratic caucus initiative to raise that minimum wage from $7.25 up to $15 over a 3-year graduated increase. Um, it's um, it's shameful. When I did a little research not too long ago, I learned that high school babysitters are making $20 an hour, and the minimum wage workers who are often single parents doing their best, $7.25. It's not right. I'm also, since I was a Scott County supervisor, and even before that, I've also been very focused on juvenile justice issues. You may be aware that America incarcerates more of its minority youth than any other nation in the world. Um, Iowa incarcerates more of its minority youth than any other state in the union. And Scott County incarcerates more minority youth than any other county in Iowa. So here we are at ground zero for disproportionate incarceration. Our kids are 5 times more likely to be incarcerated than their white counterparts for the identical crimes. One of the bills that I've been advocating for a while now is a bill that would all but mandate uh, the use of intervention programs prior to pre-charge, prior to their being charged. Once you're charged, um, damage has already been done to your life and times. And if we could use our restorative justice and other programs to get these young people back on the right track before they were charged, they'd be able to maintain their relationships with the community, the school, each other. Children who end up going into incarceration are also dramatically more likely not to finish their schooling. They fall behind, and it becomes an issue. So there's that. Uh, I I've been an advocate for expanded mental health services also for a long time. That was one of my issues as a public health advocate at Genesis Health System. The uh, mental health court is another alternative program rather than committing these folks to the justice of a regular court. A mental health court also comes with its own set of interventions and programs that I've been working on for, I don't know, 10, 15 years now. I'd like to see that expanded. I'm also working on support for peer-based mental health services. Generally, that takes the form of respite care. So having places where people can go who are struggling and meet other people similarly situated and have a place to go and rest, even temporarily, is a good thing. So the unfinished business is what causes me to want to go back again.
Okay. Great answers. Do you have a primary opponent? Do you have a primary opponent in your life?
I I am aware of one primary opponent, and it has been rumored, without a name, that there's another person considering a primary challenge. But I can't add much information beyond the rumor.
Sure. Okay. What makes you different from other Democratic candidates or your primary opponents?
Um, Experience. I delay in that answer because I'm not sure that it's experience, but it's more perspective. Um, I've lived here now for close to 25 years, but I've also lived many other places, seen other experiences, had different jobs. I started my career as a legal aid lawyer. Learned a lot about judicial matters there. I spent the last 20 so years here in healthcare, and worked for Save the Children Federation, so I know a fair bit about economic development. And like I say, I think perspective prepares me.
Okay. Um, what do you have a favorite political TikToker, podcaster, journalist kind of in that realm? Who do you follow for your political news and things like that?
The insufferable wenches. Is there any other?
No, of course not. I love that answer. Thank you so much. Um, and I know you're lying, which is even that that's good. Thank you for that, boosting confidence, but also please get your news from somewhere else.
uh, um, I don't know if you're familiar with a podcast called On the Media with Brooke Gladstone.
Ooh, I'm not.
It's a wonderful, wonderful show. So I go there. Um, Again, I get a lot of mass media information from. I read the New York Times, of course, the Quad City Times, and Iowa Public Radio. I follow them a great deal. So. A combination of mass media and podcasts.
Perfect. We always ask that because we want to know more that we can listen to.
Right. Yeah. I do try to um, follow, Fox and a few other channels where I don't find much mutual agreement, but
Sure.
it's important to hear what other people are saying, and so I follow them largely on like YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on the crazy. That's what I call it.
What's that?
I call it keeping an eye on the crazy. I have a Truth Social account, so I know what the alt-right is worried about.
Yes.
Important to know the up.
The goal is distraction, I find, in most of that. We're not talking about what's really happening. We're talking about something else. But okay.
Yep. Okay. Um, do you take corporate PAC money? Um, do you plan to take corporate PAC money? Now, to be clear, when we say corporate PAC money, I'm sure that this is probably not confusing to you in any way, but for some people it is. We're not talking about advocacy PACs. We're talking about Exxon and FedEx and Walmart.
Sadly, Exxon and Walmart aren't really paying much attention to me.
Not super interested in the Iowa House races.
But yes, I do take advocacy money. I looked it up, knowing you might ask that question. The largest contribution I've gotten is $3,500 from the International Operating Engineers. I also just received a check last week from the Nurse Anesthetists Association, and so advocacy money. Yes, I do take that, and I'm proud of the shared values that caused them to offer it to me. So I'm yes, and proud of it.
Very good. We are pro advocacy PACs. We
Uh-huh.
we are very pro advocacy PACs. We are very anti corporate PACs because
Right.
advocacy organizations are working to better the lives of people, right?
Yes.
Walmart's not. So, Layla, I'll let you take the next question because it is the one question that I can never get right.
Okay. So if we treat the legislature as if it's college, what would you major in and what would you minor in the legislature?
This is a really interesting one. Um, if I never did this, mind you, I want to be clear about this, but if one was smart enough to choose his or her major or minor based on the needs of the marketplace, the first thing I would do is major in finance or economics or something, because the Iowa General Assembly is incapable of managing its money. I'd like to be more helpful in that respect. Um, uh, I don't understand how you go into a session with a $1.5 billion deficit and talk about how you're going to cut taxes. You're giving back money you haven't collected and won't collect. Um, Back to perspective. Has trickle down economics ever worked? Ronald Reagan tried to do this too. He was going to cut taxes, and the clouds would part, the skies would open, and money would fall down on us. It hasn't, and it doesn't. And so, in any event, we need to go back to school for some basic math. The minor, I think, would be, I don't know, philosophy or social justice or something. I don't understand how a majority of 100 people would vote to take away civil rights from a vulnerable group. That is if there's an offering on ethics or some such thing, I'd like to be there because I don't understand that. Again, we are the first state to ever remove civil rights from a group of our neighbors because of how they feel. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's gross. Did you want me to continue or did you want to pick up back up, Mom?
Oh, I don't, whatever you want to do is fine. Um, but yes, everything you just said. And I think that maybe the entirety of the Iowa government as a whole should maybe take a class, together in just being empathetic human beings.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a great place to start.
I, Not to put too fine a point on it, but both in the state and federally, when did it become okay to weaponize food?
Yeah.
When did it become okay to deny children summer meals
Oh,
because you're mad at them for
yeah.
being poor, I guess. I'm not sure what you're unhappy about. But for 2 years, the governor and the legislature wouldn't accept summer EBT programs because someone might eat a candy bar. So we'll give you nothing. Uh, Quite frankly, I'd rather they eat the cookie if the choice is that or nothing.
Mhm.
Again, to some of my colleagues are so blinded by the certainty of their own beliefs that they'll do things that I find unconscionable. I just don't get me started, Heather.
Hey, listen, if we did that, we'd be here for hours. Hours. We would have to nap. We would have to go in shifts. Um, okay, so we're gonna go to the next question. What are some ways that you're active in your community?
Well, there are many ways I'm active in my community. Um, uh, Related to something we've already covered, but I do. I founded and I continue to operate a film festival. The proceeds from which go to trans kids. Here on the East Coast, um, we're somewhat lucky, if you want to call this lucky, but um, these kids can't get the services they need in Iowa, but happily they can go across the river and get some of these services in the Illinois Quad Cities, specifically at two wonderful organizations, one called Clock Inc., the other called the Project of the Quad Cities. But all this extra demand comes with added financial cost. So over the last 2 years now, we've shown 4 films. Some were recruited from the Chicago LGBTQ International Film Festival, and most recently Jimmy in Saigon, and well, others, and some other films that are sort of classic LGBTQA plus themed films. I rent a theater in downtown Davenport. We promote it. People come, pay a slightly inflated price. Maybe we have a silent auction or some such thing. And so far, we've raised about $10,000 for those 2 organizations to provide these services to Iowa kids who would, it's serious business what we do. Again, what kind of a person would bar a child suffering with gender dysphoria from getting the emotional and medical and whatever other care they need, because you don't approve. I'll never understand it. And at the end of every conversation, I find myself saying, "What's it to you? What do you care? Why? How does it impact you?" Um, and usually they fall back on, lies and distortions and other reasons why this is a bad thing. But um, when a family decides that they want to pursue this, I don't want a few $100 to be the problem. This is something that knows no class. It affects everyone, no matter what your financial position might be.
That is awesome. I was not aware of your film festival. So
Um,
I'm so excited to hear that. That is really cool.
I will send you an invitation, and you will come next time.
We will be there. You can plan on that. All right, Layla, the next one is the most serious question. You want to take it?
Sure.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so this one is a really big deal. Cats or dogs, and why?
No. Dogs are too exuberant and cats are too aloof. So I'll take neither. Thank you very much.
I support that.
Yeah. What
As
would you
someone,
prefer instead?
I will say I've had both, and there are, endearing qualities to all of these critters. And when they're yours, they're family. But in the abstract, I don't think animals should live indoors.
I like it. All right. I think that's the first no animals. We did the last candidate we talked to, Eric Armstrong. He said
Tropical fish.
tropical
Yeah.
fish, no cats or dogs, only tropical fish. And I think the other two were they both cats?
I
I don't
think they
remember.
were.
I think they were
Yeah.
both cats. And we have 3 dogs,
Ah.
which I question
every day.
where I
Yeah.
was when that decision was
My,
made.
my son always loved cats, and so we always had one of them. Always had a rescue kitty around, and my daughter loved dogs, so we've alternated between the two. But sadly or happily, depending on your perspective, I am now without pets.
I have said so many times when these three beautiful, beautiful dogs, they're gorgeous,
Right.
loving, great dogs, but when their time is up, so is my time with pets.
The things we do for our children.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, usually and to be super transparent, it would be the child on the call.
Right.
She's the one who talked us into two of the three. It's
Uh-huh.
Layla's fault. She won't own up to it. Um,
I just nodded along. I agree.
what are your top priorities without healthcare, water quality, or education?
You know, the hip bone really is connected to the leg bone, and it's really hard to separate these things out. Um, uh, I, I've been working pretty hard on um, uh, a plan regarding our shocking and shameful cancer rates that has an environmental component, an insurance component, and a healthcare component. So I guess if it maybe that's cheating a bit, but for instance, I think we have to lessen our exposure to cancer causing elements, the nitrates in our soil and water and that sort of thing. um, I have a bill that would ban the use of PFAS in the state of Iowa. I also have a bill that would permit, not require, but permit municipalities to charge um, a fee. I don't know what the fee is, but a fee for the use of those damn ubiquitous plastic bags that are everywhere, you know? None of these chemicals ever go away, you know, hence the name Forever Chemicals. Um, they cause fertility issues, testicular cancer, kidney cancer, liver disease. Um, let's minimize, you know, that sort of thing. Um, you know, there's a saying about when you find yourself in a hole, the first thing you do is stop digging, and that's, you know, I want to reduce our exposure to carcinogens. The other major bill I have in that area is radon testing in schools. Um, we don't test for radon in schools, and the geographic quality of Iowa makes it the number one radon admitting state in the union. So um, uh, there is a bill that, of course, I've only been there the 3 years, but the year before I came, there was a bill championed by a teacher named Gail Orcott, who taught in school for 33 years, ultimately died of lung cancer. She never smoked. All indications are it was exposure to radon in her school building. Um, the bill now does require you to test for radon in public schools, but not private schools. There are 40,000 children going to public school in Iowa and more every day, thanks to that idiotic school voucher program, that budget busting school voucher program, who, for all we know, are exposed to radon every day. And, it's not like you go in the morning to your school perfectly healthy and you come out at the end of the day with your hair green or something. So it's happened. It can be decades before this manifests itself in the lung cancer. I'm mandating more frequent um, radon testing, including private schools. The next phase is how to minimize the impact of exposure. And for that, I am offering a bill this time that makes testing of um, cancerous condition, early testing and treatment, mandatory insurance coverage. Um, we have a number of programs here. You're probably familiar with them because they're nationwide, but like Susan G. Komen and other organizations that provide vouchers to women who need to get breast cancer screens but don't have the money to do it. I, I don't want that ever to be the issue. It's hard enough convincing people to remember to go for your annual breast cancer screenings. I don't want the money to be the issue. So, similarly with prostate checks and all that sort of thing, I did a lot of that at Genesis, offering those kinds of things, screening programs and the like. And then finally, we need more sophisticated and advanced cancer treatments. The so-called next generation sequencing is not widely available in that's the so-called personal medicine, that's based on your DNA. If you and I both went to the doctor and we were both diagnosed with breast cancer, then we would likely get the same treatment, even though I'm considerably older than you, I'm male, I'm whatever else I am, and you're not. We shouldn't get the same treatment. We should get the treatment that's unique to us and personalized. I want to see more of that. The state has the ability to use its certificate of need program to influence that, and they're not doing it. Um, I mean, trust me, I want to see a mammography in every hospital in the state, but I also want to see the advanced treatments necessary for advanced treatment. I lost my wife to breast cancer 4 years ago. Um, she was in her 60s. She had never had a positive mammogram until she moved to Iowa. And in 1 year, she went from completely clear to an advanced case of an advanced stage of triple negative cancer. Um, Coincidence? I don't think so. But while she was able to get a quick enough diagnosis, we had to go elsewhere for treatment. And again, lucky us, we could do that. But how many people can?
Not many.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. That was a very long answer to a very simple question. I'm very focused on a holistic response to our cancer crisis. Um, um, I don't know. Affordability is a big issue, I think, for everybody right now. I've recently introduced. Let's take an example that is within the bounds of your question. An energy affordability bill. Um, just a couple of weeks ago, it happened yet again. I think it was the Woodbury County Board of Supervisor, but I shouldn't say that because I might be wrong. But a county board of supervisors used its zoning authority to block the development of a solar energy project. You can do that by saying, well, each of these panels has to be 200 yards apart. Well, you can't do this efficiently if you make them 200 yards apart. You have to be reasonable about this if you truly support the idea of renewable energy. I was on the county board of supervisors here in Scott County, and one of my colleagues actually said, I don't like the look of solar panels. Well, I don't like the look of the desertification of the state, but that's what we're headed toward.
Yeah.
So because this person personally objects to the look of solar panels, or were they just having exercising their preference for ethanol and the growing of corn, by using a 500-foot setback from the road, or some arbitrary and capricious zoning regulation that was not intended to keep the public healthy or any of the appropriate or worthwhile uses of zoning, but rather just to block a development for alternative energy sources.
Yeah.
So there's two for you.
Perfect. Both very important.
Yes.
So during that, you mentioned the school voucher program.
Mm.
So let's circle back to that a little bit. Um, I would gather that you're not in favor of that program based on your answer to the last question. So
Right.
usually what we do is ask, are you for or against it? Um, I'm going to ask you, what do you think we can do about it?
Well, again, I've already submitted for the upcoming session a bill that would restore the need-based criteria. Today, the richest family in Iowa, who are perhaps already sending their kids to private school, can call up Governor Reynolds and say, hey, send me one of those $8,000 checks, will you? And why wouldn't they do that? They Anybody can pick one up, and quite frankly, we can't afford it, nor should we.
No.
Public money for public education, I say. But be that as it may, the first thing we need to do is restore need-based assistance. Again, and then we need to hold these private schools accountable. It is not right that my money, and I don't have kids in school anymore, that my money is supporting the richest family in Iowa to go to private school, and that same private school won't take the kid with a behavioral issue.
Uh-huh.
Everybody throws up their hands and says, well, we're not equipped to take care of that. Well, then don't take the money. If you're not equipped, don't take it. So we need to do that. And then finally, we need to phase out this. Look, we made a commitment to some families. I it it was a bad decision, but we made it, and we need to live with our bad decisions. So again, um, I would I would maintain that commitment until such time as, again, quit digging. This hole is deep enough. Let's not. Quite frankly, I don't know how we can do it. The 1.4 or whatever it is deficit that we've got now. The governor of Arizona is, telling her legislature that it's going to bankrupt the state. Um, they're already talking about service reductions to manage the budget shortfall we've got. So we're going to reduce the number of firefighters or law enforcement folks, so that we can send rich children to private schools on public money. That ain't right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know that there's a lot of kind of discourse, specifically with Democrats who are running, who don't. It's like two sides where some Democrats are pro get rid of the program eventually, like phase it out because it shouldn't
Mhm.
exist because public dollars for public schools. But then another group of Democrats who are running for Iowa House who are kind of like, well, we just need to audit the money because liberal families also take part in the program. Like, and so it's
Well,
refreshing to hear someone who's like
yeah.
sensitive about the problems.
Well, look, I am a product of parochial education myself. My parents, who didn't have money, they they felt it was important for religious reasons that I go to a particular school, but they didn't make that anybody else's problem. They got second jobs. They saved and scrimped and worked because it was important to them that I go. If we've got children in a private or parochial high school, okay, again, we'll honor the commitment and finish that out. But uh, and I also think we need to audit. Uh, all of this money is being administered by an out of state company. I, we send them a check. I don't know what they're doing with it. I don't know who's getting it. I don't know what they're getting for it. Um, we've had a number of instances here in the Quad Cities where private schools have recruited athletes to come to their private schools to contribute their athletic skills to the school's greater glory, but then weren't equipped to help them adjust to the cultural changes that needed to happen. And Layla, I want to go back said, who said private school education is better than public school education? I don't know what that's about. I think for many people, it's a class thing,
Oh yeah.
but not an education thing. I'm going to brag a moment here. You know, my kids went to public school mostly. Um, uh, they did just fine. Um, my son is a research scientist, and at Mount Sinai House, he got a fine education, and I don't know why there's an assumption that an accepted assumption that kids in public school aren't getting great educations. In Iowa, I understand because they're so underfunded. But if we put that kind of money into our public schools, the education would be second to none, as it once was.
Yeah.
I grew up on the East Coast, and and every year we would take the Iowa Basic Skills Test. I thought Iowa, when I was a kid, I thought Iowa was like Brigadoon or something. All the children in Iowa are smarter than we are, and we're all aspiring to be as clever as they are. Um, Iowa was just considered a beacon. And, even as an adult, when I got the opportunity to come to Iowa, I jumped at it. I mean, Iowa desegregated its schools, 75 years before America did. Iowa was the first to offer marriage equality. Iowa was always ahead. That was the progressive ideal. Invest in education, do what's right, all that sort of thing. And now I get here just in time for the worm to turn.
I think
Not that public education is poor in Iowa, but according to the experts, we're average at best,
Yeah. I think that
and
there's
not always the case.
the adage, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. We hear
Yeah,
it a lot, and
yeah,
you can't pull yourself up by the bootstraps if you don't have boots. You're
yes,
not going to improve education by taking all of their money away.
right.
That's
No, it
that's just gonna, make it worse and
right.
potentially, especially in smaller areas, close schools.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
no, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Layla, you got something?
I think I was just going to talk about how um people will talk about how private school is better, but private school can say no to any student. They'll say no to students
Exactly.
with disabilities, different
Yeah.
race, different
Mhm.
types of lives to
Mhm.
maintain their 100% graduation rate.
Yeah.
That's skewed evidence. Like there is no good data
Mm-mm.
to prove that private schools are better than public schools. So I think that in and of itself is enough to kind of disprove that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What private schools historically uh, didn't have was low income and minority students.
Mhm.
And where we're headed with this track we're on is a two-tiered education system in Iowa.
Mhm.
One for the low income and minority kids, who are often the same kids, and another for the wealthy and white kids. Um, that's un-American, and it will do nothing to improve us as a nation. Uh, and universal education is what made America great. I mean, that is a part of American exceptionalism. And we're walking away from it. We're giving that away in Iowa. And I think we have to do whatever we need to reclaim that value.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to fast track questions now because we're going to go way over our time limit.
Uh-oh, sorry.
No, you're good. We're talkers. It's a thing.
Yeah.
These are the fun ones, though.
Yeah. Yeah, these ones are more fun. Layla, you want to go?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. If you could pass legislation on a petty grievance, what would it be and why? And I can give you an example. For me, I would improve public transportation because of affordability and accessibility and the environment and blah, 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 but also to get bad drivers off the road and out of my way. So,
Well, I can be even more petty than that. I've got a bill pending that well, when you watch television, have you ever noticed that the commercials are louder than the program?
Yes.
I'm going to ban that.
that's a good one.
That is a good one.
That one's really personal.
They
I
are
like
so
it.
loud.
Yeah.
I never thought about that, but
Yeah, I'm team let's get that passed.
Yes.
Keep going, Layla.
okay. What keeps you going in a day? In the time like this, with our government operating or not?
Yeah.
What do you look forward to keep moving?
My grandkids. Um, I am deeply concerned they will never know the. I mean, I don't recognize America, and I'm deeply concerned they'll never know the America that I grew up in. Hardly perfect, not even nearly perfect, but committed to doing better. I don't think there are elements in our society today that are not committed to doing better, and consciously so. I, the kids. I also I also have a number of faith communities that I hang around with, and those people. There are really good people out there who really want to leave the world a better place than they found it, and they give me hope. They encourage me, and
Gonna make you wonder why you even try. Hard times. Gonna take you down and laugh when you cry. And I still don't know how I
Oh, there we go. What is your hottest take?
I don't know, what does that mean?
Mom, do you want to give an example?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
What's yours?
Oh yeah, Layla, give an example. What's your hottest take?
I have so many hot takes.
I know.
I think one of my hottest takes right now is we're not cooked. We're only as cooked or screwed as we believe we are. And so I consistently say that to people who are online, like, oh, we're so cooked, we can't do anything better. Like, it's over. It's only over when you truly believe it's actually over, and I don't. But it's
Yeah.
optimistic, and people really disagree with that.
Well, you're certainly right. Look, I've been around a while. I went through the polio epidemic. I went through the AIDS epidemic. I went through um, the great culling of Vietnam and the drug epidemic, and it is true that well, that will get through it. But I suppose the I thought we had resolved some of these issues um, uh, in the 70s. I didn't expect to be dealing with them in my 70s. You know, I was part of a program for lead-free QC being Quad Cities, where we were going to address, the lead-free issue in houses. Well, when I was a legal aid lawyer, we were suing landlords for lead paint in the 70s. So, to find that we're still dealing with it, 50 years later is very disappointing to me. So, I'd have to agree with you. Oh gosh, I don't know that I've got a particular hot take. Uh, I'll pass.
That works.
That
Okay. Layla, you on the next one or you want me to go?
you can go. The document keeps jumping around for me.
Oh, weird.
Uh
Okay, so rapid fire.
oh.
You support trans rights.
Oh gosh, yes.
Very good. Are you pro bodily autonomy for women?
Not only yes, but hell yes.
Thank God.
I think one of the aspects of a bill that I've already mentioned to you, mandatory insurance coverage. I want there should be mandatory insurance coverage for IVF, which of course is the next thing on the GOP chopping block. Um, I may be a little farther left than many people are comfortable with. I hear people say the decision is between a woman and her doctor. I don't think the doctor has a role in that. I mean, as an advisor and a consultant, it's the woman's decision, not nobody else's. She gets to decide. That's bodily autonomy, and it's something that we have to struggle to
Yeah.
keep.
Yep. All right. So we have two questions left. You're almost
Uh-oh.
done with us. Why should your constituents vote for you again?
Well, maybe they shouldn't. The one thing I offer, and I'm actually somewhat surprised by how people react to this. As Popeye used to say, "I am's what I am's." If you're not, if you don't like the way I think, um, don't vote for me. It's okay. I'm okay either way. It's okay. This is why God made vanilla and chocolate, right? Have at it. But what you get with me is authenticity. I'll never try to trick you into believing I feel one way when I really don't. I had that in a past election where someone would never say how they felt about bodily autonomy. Never actually come out and answer the damn question. Um, uh, at least with me, you'll know what you're getting. And if you don't like surprises, you'll like me. But I think I'm well prepared. I think I have a lot of perspective. I have a fair amount of experience and education. And I don't want to grow up to be president. So I'm never gonna kid you or mislead you.
Awesome. All right. So what's the big ask? What do you need from everyone with campaigning? Do you need, volunteers, money? What is the big ask?
Well, the big ask will be, of course, you know, money and support and that sort of thing. But this is a little confusing, I think, to people. I've not declared yet. I have not publicly declared yet.
Okay.
I am I am troubled by running people running and campaigning 12 months a year every year. We had a candidate here who declared for the 2026 general election on primary day of 2025. I
Okay.
mean, this is confusing to people.
Oh,
People don't
yeah.
even know when you're running, you know?
Yeah.
Um, when do we take the time to do the damn job? Are we always running the job, you know?
Yep.
Maybe in this season of electioneering, my hot take would be the best way to keep a job is to do the job. So I want people, we don't have to file until March, the 13th, the 3rd, I can't remember what date. Um, I want to be a representative until I must be a candidate because people elected me to be a representative, not to be a perennial candidate. And, you know, people, I think that's confusing to people, but at this point, between you and me and your millions of listeners, it's my intention to run again. I
Sure.
mean, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But again, my constituents deserve me focused on the legislative session.
Mhm.
This is why I have, about 85 bills pending this year. I believe I am the most prolific representative in the House right now, with more bills pending than anyone else. Not that I get my way, but um, you gotta cast a really big net to catch even a little fish, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So I uh, I want to be a representative while I'm a representative. We turn over every 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, are we going to do the work of the people, or are we just going to curry the favor of the people, constantly? I don't think you can do both at the same time well. So um, I, I'll be asking for volunteers and help and
Yeah.
money and all that sort of thing. But so far I haven't asked for money, and uh, I take some measure of pride in that, Heather. You know, I probably, like you, open my email every day, and I get 5 to 10 emails from people all over the country. I must be on some list telling me how important their race is and why I should rush the money.
Oh, yeah.
Send me $1, send me $5, send me $500. Affordability. We can't
Can't
afford
afford it. Well,
we can't afford to give that much money out.
I think that opens up a really great conversation, which we won't have enough time to talk about. But I think it opens up a huge conversation for the money and politics conversation and how unbelievably difficult it is to break into running for office and the things that you're told when you run for office and how much money they tell you that you will need to run for office,
Yeah.
essentially out of the gate, you're just begging for money from day one until you get into office because consultants and
Yeah.
other candidates, and you're going to need
Mhm.
$500,000 to,
It's
and I think
crazy talk.
it
You
is,
know, it's
it's
crazy
insane.
talk.
Yep. And then
Um,
knowing that you're going up against Republicans in some districts, which I don't think
right.
I think your district leans blue. Yeah.
Well, we have about an equal number of Democrats and independents.
Yep.
I'm remembering 5,000 ish, and probably 3,000 Republicans. So the election is really decided by how the independents break.
Yeah.
If they break right or break left, that person has the advantage. But you're your comment raises a really important question. Um, our Iowa General Assembly is not representative of Iowa. Our representatives are not representative. Um, uh, the Iowa General Assembly is white, older, wealthier, agricultural.
Uh-huh.
Why? They have the money, they have the time, they have the resources. You know, there's a reason why the General Assembly meets for 4 months a year, January through April, because the farmers are off then, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Um, uh, that's not the population of Iowa.
No.
And don't get me wrong, I'm crazy about old white men. They're, we're just the kind of people I'd be crazy about. But there's I don't know. I'm going to say, without counting, there's like seven African American representatives, one senator. There's one Hispanic legislator. Um, and mostly all but one of them is a Democrat. Um, the one, and I hope I'm remembering this correctly, the one African American Republican, I believe, has abandoned his seat to run for governor. So there won't be one Republican African American next year. But we've got tons of farmers.
Right.
I and it's okay that they be represented, but I don't think they should dominate. So we passed a bill last year that required schools to buy Iowa beef.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, okay. But it was the Cattlemen's Association that, I'm not sure that was our biggest problem.
Right.
I'd like to think that Iowa beef, if sourced correctly, would have been the most affordable and most proximate place to get this anyway. So,
Right.
okay. Our experiences should influence our legislative opinions. You know, it's now 2 years ago. I was driving down a street here in Davenport, and I saw some city workers doing road construction work. There was one man who I thought was going to die. It was July. He was absolutely dripping with sweat and heat, had no cover, had no obvious source of water. heat-related construction industries are very, very, very frequent. What happens is these people get to the hospital and they're diagnosed with, you know, heat exhaustion or a stroke or something, but no one diagnoses as work-related heat, you know.
Right.
So no one's tracking that. So I put a bill in based on my experience that these people need workplace safety. But it shouldn't relate to my livelihood. My experience, yes. My livelihood, I'm not sure that's appropriate in all cases.
Right. Yeah. And if we're going to do that, maybe can we just elect, I don't know, like doctors, maybe scientists?
Yes,
That'd be fabulous if we're going to go down
yes.
that road, right?
Yeah, we
All
have we
right.
have two doctors, no, three doctors that I'm
Mhm.
aware of.
Yeah.
Two are Democrats, one's Republican, and it's wonderful having them there. They something happens to people when they get elected to an office. They start to think they're smarter than they were before they were elected to the
Right.
audience,
Yeah.
the office. And turns out it's not always true.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
All
I
right.
probably
So,
overstayed my welcome. I'm
no,
sorry to.
never. You're fine. We will keep an eye on your decision going forward and whether your intent becomes a campaign launch when it's time.
Right.
Good luck coming up in the next legislative session. We think it's going to be a rough one based on
Yes.
last year, which last year we kind of went through bills as they came out and we watched really closely and tried to get them out to public as much as we could and break these big long bills down that are hard to understand and read on the website into smaller portions to make them a little
Mhm.
more accessible. And we're going to be doing that same thing this year also, which means that we sit behind a computer furiously
Mhm.
typing for the 4 months that you guys are in session. Um and listen, it's stressful, right? Just reading through it all as it comes out is stressful. So I imagine being there is even more fun, right?
Right.
Which is why I'm not running. Because no, thank you. I'll just stay out here and yell at you guys from afar. Um,
Well, as you do that analysis, if I can help, let me know.
Absolutely. All right. We will stay in touch. Good luck. We'll be
Thank you, Heather.
rooting
Thank
for
you,
some more bills
Layla.
to go through. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thanks.
And
And
thanks
good
for
luck
coming
to
on.
you, Layla.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Gonna